Here's to you, our little chit-chat. It's been a while since we visited each other, and once again, off the cuff, unscripted little chit-chat. I have a lot to share with you, and so if you have something that you really need to do, please do. I won't be offended if you have to go away. That's okay. It's going to be a little lengthy because, as I said, it's been a while since we had this little sit-down little chit-chat. First, let me say that once again, experience has raised its ugly head, and the video previous to this one, I discussed my experiences in Sterling, Virginia. I'm not going to repeat that, but I would only say this, okay, that here it is, October 2021. In November, we will have an election, and we will determine once and for all, I hope, the trend of the United States of America. This election that is coming up will be about how people feel about each other, how Americans feel about other Americans, as far as race is concerned. Well, as I've always said, I would like you personally to think for yourself. And you need not really embrace the views of others. All you have to do is take a look at your own experience, your own knowledge, use your intuition, listen to the wise people, wise sages, the wise gurus, if you will, and then you determine your own lifestyle. And you do that with common sense. And I'd also like to say that when you do, you have to pay attention to details, okay? Pay attention to details. When I went to Sterling, I drove 4 hours to Sterling, and I thought I'd answered all the questions, I'd dot all the I's, crossed all the T's. As a matter of fact, on the way up, I was in communication with the person I was supposed to meet, and I was looking forward to making a really meaningful video. I really was. And we ended the conversation by saying, yep, I'll be there at noon. And he said, yep, you know, not to worry, I'm going to be there. And I said, when we got there, I'll let you know that I'm there and all is well. So I got there. It was in front of a Target store, a massive parking lot. So I texted him, I said, I'm here, with the assumption that he would respond, good. And then we would follow up from there and we would meet each other. Well, earlier I said we need to pay attention to details. I presumed that our communication was in fact being done by a cell phone. It never occurred to me that he was calling from a landline. He did not have a cell phone. So my repeated texts, I'm here, let's get together, never got to him. He left prematurely to meet me. He has no way of communicating except through a landline. We have a massive parking lot, and we never met. 2 things I kept thinking about while I was in the parking lot. One was an experience I had in Kentucky, where a friend and I had gone out to dinner, and upon leaving dinner, I walked towards a car that looked very much like mine. And I was about to open the door, and my friend grabbed me by the arm and said, don't do that. He said, you could have been shot, because they would have assumed that you're robbing them, and this is Kentucky, and he would have gotten away with it. And then it occurred to me that people react simply by looking at the other person's race. And I was saved the embarrassment and maybe death. by adhering to his advice. And then the other scenario that I thought about was an experience I had up in northern Georgia, up in the mountains of northern Georgia. I was in a grocery store, and the lady behind me was telling her friend in a tone on volume that I could hear, and she used the N-word, which is the derogatory vernacular, and she said to her friend, "You see those people? The sheriff found one of those guys shot 16 times, and the sheriff declared it a suicide." And they both laughed. That was for my benefit, of course, because there's northern Georgia up in the mountains where I was the rare one. So this is United States of America, and these are the realities of America. Pay attention to the details. The second thing that I'd like to tell you about is to be aware. Pay attention to details. Be aware of your surroundings and be aware of where you are. If you watch the video previous to this one, I made it very clear how people react in different parts of the country. I dare say in Virginia itself. Tidewater, Virginia is not the same Virginia as you find out in the western part of Virginia. It simply is not. So, pay attention to details. Be aware. In other words, what you're watching on the news, what you're reading in the newspaper may not be so. You got to remember that we don't get the news as we ought to get. It's controlled by 16 billionaires. Also, history. Our history has been manipulated to the point where a lot of real information is simply left out of our history books. Pay attention to details. Be aware. Don't be fooled. And finally, think for yourself. Think for yourself. Okay? Pay attention to details. Be aware. Don't be fooled. Think for yourself. And don't assume anything. Get all the information. So, that's basically what I wanted to share with you today. And in the meantime, listen, it's now fall. Don't let people dictate how you live your life. I live in Virginia, and Virginia is wine country. And I intend to take advantage by visiting a lot of the communities in Virginia. I will do so, but I'll always pay attention to my surroundings. Be aware, and I will be thinking for myself.